Good morning. Welcome to the New Jersey Morning Show. Today is Thursday, December 1st, believe it or not. I'm Cara Falco.
And I'm Kristina Behr. On today's show, we'll have more on the new media literacy standards that could be coming to New Jersey schools.
This is cool stuff. We'll also have the latest on the most recent illegal gun seizure at Newark Airport.
There's been a lot, for sure. But first, we're going to get a look at the forecast with meteorologist Mike Favetta. Good morning to you, Mike.
Very good morning to you both. Good morning, everyone. December. Can you believe it?
Yeah.
Starting off, I know, last month of 2022 with a chill. It's cold outside.
Yes, it is.
We started in the 20s this morning, and it's going to not feel very warm by this afternoon, especially with temperatures that feel like they're in the 40s most of the day. A little bit of a gusty breeze last night. Had some wind advisories up earlier in the overnight hour, but now, going into this afternoon, temperatures ultimately climb into the low 40s. That's a December chill, especially when we begin the morning below the freezing mark and climb only to 29 degrees. So, on this Thursday with mostly sunny skies, anticipate a little bit of a breeze that will allow for some wind chill to come into play. So your 43 in Newark will actually feel a little more like 38 or 37 degrees with those winds blowing. 39 in Flemington feels like 35, and even over toward Trenton, 42 degrees. There's a little bit of rain on the way for the weekend, but the entire weekend is not a washout. We'll take a check of that weekend weather coming up with a check of your holiday decorating forecast. Intern John is really going digging deep in the creativity box. We got those details coming up in a few minutes.
I like it. I'm excited.
Yeah.
You need that. You need to know. When is it safe to put the lights out?
Yes. I mean, I already did.
Precisely.
Several weeks ago.
Of course you did. Of course you did.
Thanks, Mike.
All right, let's get a check of the roads and rails with Don Smith. And Don, how are we looking out there this morning?
Well, it's fairly busy here, Cara. Good morning to you. Good morning, Kristina. Good morning, Mike. And a lot of this, has been sun glare. Yesterday our commute was fairly light, but today we're starting to see a lot more of that sun glare has been really a problem here. Let's go over towards our maps here this morning. And the problem here on Route 80, I just wanted to start the camera once we came to me because they time out. But this is eastbound 80 here in the Wharton area, right at Route 15 and exit 34. You see the shoulder is blocked with a crash. Fairly large response. I count 1, 2, 3, 4, about 4 police cars. Looks like there's maybe 2 or 3 vehicles. There's an ambulance there. So again, hopefully everyone's okay, but there is a bit of a backup behind it. Just a couple of minutes, not terrible. Let's go over towards another scene here this morning. This happened about an hour ago or so. Let's go full screen with that. This is the southbound Parkway here at the Bon Jovi Rest area. On the express side, you see the right lane is shut. Emergency construction with this guardrail. There was a vehicle that actually came down the embankment about an hour ago, so that's still in the process of being cleared and really not seeing much of a delay. But again, I would maybe stay with the local lanes instead, just in the chance to have to close things off for a brief moment. And you can see that delay has kind of cleared up. Well, since we're in central Jersey, still a lot of volume on Route 9, both ways in Old Bridge, Route 1, 18 getting into New Brunswick, and 287 still haven't really begun to shake out the delays here through the Edison area. Speaking of delays, we still have some pretty hefty delays at the George, about an hour for the upper, 40 for the lower, about 40 at the Lincoln, and about 25 at the Holland Tunnel. About 15 minutes. We'll take another check of the roads and also check in with New Jersey Transit. Cara, Kristina, send it back into you.
Thanks so much, Don.
So as we get closer towards the end of the year and the midterm elections now basically in the rearview mirror, the focus across New Jersey now shifting to 2023, where state legislators will continue working on legislation ahead of next November's elections. Ben Dworkin, the director of the Rowan Institute for Public Policy, says inflation will likely be one of the top issues.
I think affordability is going to be the dominant issue. It's going to be who can make this state affordable. Democrats, because they have such strong control over both houses of the legislature, will pursue their agenda and will be able to say, look at all the things we made cheaper. And that's how we made New Jersey more affordable. Republicans will criticize them for any number of reasons, both in terms of the substance, how they did it, and whether it was significant enough. And they'll offer their own plan.
Well, the 12-month national inflation rate was 7.7% in the month of October. Everybody feeling it.
Everybody. And across the, there's no industry, there's nothing you're buying today that did not go
Yeah.
to, you know, we talk about gas and groceries, literally everything.
Everything, even your
is-
Christmas trees.
Yes.
Like literally.
Dramatically more
Dramatic.
expensive. I mean, it's just
Crazy.
insane.
Yeah, so everyone's feeling the pinch, especially now ahead of the holidays, because now it's like, do you cut back on gift giving? Do you give,
Right.
cut back on, charitable things?
Yeah,
And,
like, where
it
do you
all
cut it?
trickles down.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. So it's going to be interesting to see
Yes.
for sure. All right. So there was a gun arrest made at Newark Airport after a Pennsylvania man had a loaded 9mm gun in his carry-on bag. The man is now facing a potential fine in the thousands of dollars for the offense.
Yeah, and this is, by the way, the third gun arrest made at Newark Airport just this month alone. 14 arrests have been made this year, tying a national record for gun arrests at a single airport in a single year. And federal regulations require passengers, of course, to unload and lock a handgun before you bring it on a plane. You'd think this was common sense, but I guess not.
Apparently not. You know what it is, and I do think, and someone will correct me if I'm wrong, I do believe Pennsylvania is a concealed carry state, isn't it?
I believe.
And I think sometimes
so.
people forget that the laws change when you cross a line, and that when you're on an airplane, you are on federal property.
That's the thing. It's an airplane, so you're talking feds now, and it's kind of like you would think it would be common sense not to really carry a loaded gun.
A loaded gun anywhere in public. And again, and that's why, like, I think when people forget, like, oh, let me just strap on my gun and go to the grocery store for the day,
It's
like, and they
different.
take it to the airport with them, and it's like, no, that's not how that works.
You're not allowed to do
That's
that.
not a thing. Yeah. So, and of course, leave it to Newark
To catch it.
to catch
yeah.
all of them.
They're doing their job.
They are. That's good. It's a good thing. State legislatures. Let's try that again. State legislators have passed a bipartisan bill that would require students to learn how to identify misinformation and find reliable news sources. I love this.
huge.
It passed the state Senate 36-0 before the Assembly approved it in a 61-8 vote.
That says a lot. The bill would require the Department of Education to form a committee to create statewide standards to help students achieve those goals. Now, the passage comes as a Pew Research survey found half of all adults get at least some of their news from social media. The bill now heads for Governor Murphy's desk, where it is likely to be passed with flying colors.
I love this.
And it should be.
Do you get this question a lot? I get this question a lot as somebody, as a journalist with news experience and being in the industry, because people will come and say, well, I think so-and-so is a liar, or this channel, or this channel, and they're like, where do I go? And I'm like,
where do I go?
I always say, find 3 that you like. Make sure one of them has a visibly opposing view to yours.
Right. That's great advice. I mean, as a journalist too, us being in the field and doing stories, I cannot tell you the amount of times I would be working on a story, not even related to politics.
Right.
And people would scream out fake news, fake news, fake
Right.
news. And it's like, where do we draw the line now?
Right.
Where do we, stop doing this and listen and find,
Right.
reputable sources? I mean, that's the problem. You put things out there, anybody can read it and say, oh, that's the truth.
Right. Absolutely. And that's, So I like this very much. And I've said for a long time, I do think, any station, when you have a news magazine show, which is what this show is, where we are allowed to share an
Opinions, right.
There should be, in the same way your newspaper has a big section with the opinion on the headline on
100%.
it, there should be something that says,
just a little bit of a disclaimer.
I mean, across the board, CNN needs it, Fox News
Yes.
it. This is an opinion-based show. We
Right.
read the headlines,
Right.
but then we give you our opinion.
Right.
And that should be made known to people.
But we'll see. I mean, I think this law will be a great sort of addition to helping the cause in terms of getting real news out there and what's really happening, and not just somebody's,
right. And I think it's such a great practice in critical thinking, which we
100%.
don't teach people anymore.
No, not anymore.
It's
If
what
it's on
is
Twitter,
that
it's real.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, I think we've stopped asking ourselves, is that reasonable? Does
Yeah.
that make sense?
Does that make sense? Yeah.
You
And
know?
what's the facts that back it up?
Right.
That's the thing. Like,
Right.
where's the history here?
And where
What are
did
you
that come
talking
from?
about?
How many people share a video and it's like, well, there's no source, there's no date,
Yeah.
there's no, and I'm
Yeah.
like, well, how do you know where this came from? Well, so-and-so said.
No.
Who's that?
Who is that? Yeah. How do we
So-
know if they're lying or not?
Yeah,
We're
exactly.
making money off of it. Yeah.
Exactly.
So
Exactly. This is going to be good stuff.
Yeah.
The journalists support it.
I know. Fingers
Go for
crossed.
it. All right. Let's get into some of the fun of the holiday season. This Sunday, the East Hanover Winter Festival will feature fun activities for all ages and a Christmas tree
I
lighting.
love it. And here now to give us a little bit more information is Artie Torrey, the president of the East Hanover Community Partnership. Thanks for being with us this morning.
Thank you for having me today.
So, Artie, what can people expect at the Winter Festival?
Well, my team, the mayor, Everyone in the township really participated in this event. The East Hanover Community Partnership is a nonprofit organization, and all the businesses and property owners in town, the commercial property owners, put some money aside each year in a special tax fund, and we use that fund to enhance the town, such as street lights. We change the flowers and plantings around the township several times a year. And we put together some business fairs to help advertise the businesses in the township. And this year, along with the Knights of Columbus together, we figured we'd step it up a notch and put together this festival, which includes train rides, ice skating, ice sculpture, 3 food trucks, as well as the businesses are allowed to participate, put up a tent, advertise their businesses. And during the course of that, with all the activities, the high school band, the choir, a dance school, and last but not least, Santa Claus will be there to greet the kids. There's a tent for arts and crafts. And at the end, there will be a Christmas tree lighting that's been going on in the township for years.
It sounds like a really good time. I mean, what kind of preparations go into planning this type of winter festival?
I didn't think that I would grasp how detailed it gets. We had a meeting with Mayor Panullo, the OEM manager, John Centeni, the chief of police, the DPW. It's quite extensive, actually, to have security, lighting, traffic direction, parking, safety for the residents and the visitors. So it's not something that just, fell into my lap and I was able to handle it. Without my team and the professionals from the township, I couldn't have done it. And it's a little bit more than I thought, but I'm looking forward to a great day. And hopefully your weatherman is going to tell me it's going to be bright and sunny for the kids to come out.
So Artie, you mentioned a lot of those kind of logistical things. What should people wanting to attend know? Do they need to buy tickets? Do they need to plan where to park? What should they kind of anticipate in terms of getting there?
Great question. My partnership is funding the whole event, so it costs the residents and the visitors absolutely nothing. The parking, our township building is rather small, so the event is in the parking lot, but directly across the street is one of our schools, which can hold all the traffic and park all the cars. And there'll be police officers and OEM, fire people and so forth to direct the people across the street and keep everything confined to the back area of Town Hall. So it took a lot of planning, but we have it under control and we're looking forward to a great, safe, and happy event, actually.
Yeah, I mean, this seems like a huge event, but are there any other exciting holiday events planned around East Hanover as well?
Not to this magnitude. This one, there again, with the help of the mayor, his input was spectacular, along with everybody else in the township. We started out with a small little plan, and my team, my assistant, Patty Forgione, the woman who put it together, Leslie Ruth Sika Enterprises, were just amazing by assembling all the vendors that are coming, the ice sculpture, the bands, the food trucks, and so forth. So it wasn't just a one person show. So that would be our biggest event for the holiday season.
Sounds exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. Artie, where can people go to find out more details if they need them?
We've been blasting it all over social media, obviously. We've been posting signs in all the restaurants and buildings in town, as well as we posted a big banner right across our main avenue, Ridgedale Avenue, and every other main intersection. There's a billboard sign, stating the time and what's going to happen and what's going to happen that day. So we put it out there, and we're anticipating a great turnout and look forward to doing it.
And we're hoping Mom Nature cooperates as well.
Absolutely.
For you.
Critical.
Artie Dory, thank you so much for coming on today. Have a great time.
Thank you so much.
All right, guys, coming up, we're going to tell you about changes coming to the Monmouth Manhattan ferry service.
Yes, plus more on Congressman Gottheimer's push to address ongoing mail fraud investigations.
And of course, you can always find us on social media. Head over to @NJ Morning Show on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter and click follow.
2020 felt like a dark tunnel, and while 2020 is over, the impact is not. The pandemic affected both our physical and mental health.
We started the Cody Fund for Mental Health to change lives, so we want you to know about NJ211.
It's a referral service for anyone in crisis, even children.
I am living proof that there's light at the end of the tunnel.
And it's not a train, it's help. It's NJ211.
Right now, New Jersey's youth are dealing with a lot. Growing up today, it's easy to feel overwhelmed, but you're not alone. If you're worried about someone, reach out and point them to help if they need it. The New Jersey Department of Children and Families offers support to children and youth in crisis. Help is available by phone or text whenever you need it. Be there for a friend, and know where to turn for help. Suicide should never be the answer. Growing up can be hard. Getting help shouldn't be.
Welcome back to the New Jersey Morning Show. Let's bring in meteorologist Mike Favetta and get a check of that weekend weather for those of us hoping to do some of the holiday events going on. I know my town's tree lighting is tonight, so I need to know how many layers I actually need.
Many layers.
Many
but
layers.
The wind calms down. So
Okay.
it won't feel as harsh. You know, I kind of felt bad for those people in Midtown last night with the 40-mile-an-hour winds.
I thought the tree was going to blow over.
Gusty. Yeah, right. Seriously.
I think it's huge.
I got to go get a TV. I didn't realize that was last night. Darn, oops, missed it.
No, I think I had a lot of friends who said they couldn't find it, so it wasn't easily accessible. if you
Oh,
know what I
okay.
mean.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Gotcha.
not your fault. It's okay.
Gotcha.
It's the new method of stream. This is why we stream here
Yes.
on MJ.com,
It's
right?
easy peasy.
Little plug. Hey, we've got some great weather for maybe some indoor streaming this weekend because there's rain on the way that comes in on Saturday. But the good news is that by Sunday, you'll be able to get out and enjoy all the festivities and maybe decorate some trees yourself because the weather looks fantastic on Sunday. And I know the organizers in East Hanover really want to hear that. Now, our forecast going into today feels chilly. It feels like temperatures will be in the 30s. That's with the wind chill, but the winds relax by the end of the day. It does turn a little bit milder for Saturday, but that also means rain. And then we kind of have this seesaw effect with the temperatures going up and then back down again by the end of next week. And as you know, this is kind of typical this time of year when we have these on and off showers. So that's what's likely on Saturday. Even though it's a dry day tomorrow, your holiday shopping forecast, 23 days until Christmas Day. We start off with Paramus and Freehold, even over toward, that's Christmas Eve, rather. 20 days till Christmas Eve. Wet weather this weekend on Saturday, but by Sunday, we turn nice and dry, and throughout Paramus and Freehold, temperatures warm back into the 40s under mostly sunny skies. So while technically it's warmer just by a bit on Saturday, it is wetter. And that's the forecast here. You see that little spike in temperatures on Saturday. After a sunny day tomorrow, 47, climb into the 50s with the rain most of the day Saturday. I think early on is dry, and then it quickly turns wet by the afternoon. And then Sunday clears out nicely with calm breezes. So you have a nice few days in there, especially tomorrow and Sunday, to start some decorating where you won't freeze your fingers off, especially standing in the sun. It always feels nicer. That's the case this time of year. We've got more details coming up on what to expect next week, and because it's December 1st, yesterday actually ended hurricane season for the Atlantic. So we'll give a little recap and review of how hurricane season 2022 fared here in the Atlantic. I'll give you those details.
Yay! We're like, yay, Professor Mike. We love it. Thanks so much, Mike.
You bet.
Let's head over to Don Smith now and an update on the traffic. And it's pretty busy out there, Don.
It is. Yeah, it definitely is. You know, I love when Mike's on with us because, I mean, it's just like you said, it's like going back to school. It's like you're sitting in the back of the room and you can't wait to hear what he has to say next. You know, it's always something more interesting. We got a kind of a cool thing coming up towards the end of the show here. So I can't wait for that. So let's get into the roads here this morning. Unfortunately, not really cool on southbound 73 now. We're getting word that this is shut down, so we'll go to the maps. I'll show you first. This is just before Main Street in Maple Shade. Looks like we've got a water main break that's still being worked on here this morning. Looks like they may be sporadically opening a lane up here and there, but just try to avoid this if you can. You can see Fork Landing Road is picking up all of the traffic here, getting out to Main Street in Maple Shade. And if you happen to be maybe watching, since we're kind of worldwide with YouTube and Facebook, that if you're watching us in Pennsylvania, coming off the Betsy Ross Bridge, you got to be careful to get on to eastbound or southbound 90 because you can see it here at High Street. You can see barely make it out, but it is just barely even moving. So that's probably going to run you a good another 10, 15 minutes or so. 78, there's a vehicle off the roadway there in Warren, but not seeing any delays at all. And then 182 in Hackettstown. North at 57, all lanes are closed there, and two-way traffic on the southbound roadway shouldn't pose too much of an issue, but as you get closer to Route 46, could again, as we get into the afternoon, could be a little bit of a problem. Let's go to NJ Transit. I said we're going to take a look at that. AC, about 15 minutes there, getting into AC. And these are just some congestion delays here from a couple early canceled trains. The Morrison Essex line path is actually looking pretty good as well here this morning. I want to update you on the on the 80 at Route 15. Accident still on the shoulder. It actually looks like now the right lane is shut. They just closed that up here just a moment ago. So there's a bit of a brief backup there coming in from Howard Boulevard and exit 30. So again, just please be mindful of that. Let's give you the freshest numbers at the Hudson River crossings. And that George Washington Bridge is still getting hit really hard, well over an hour. It's just a lot of volume getting into the city. 40 at the lower, about 30 still at the Lincoln, and 20 at the Holland Tunnel. So a very busy ride, ladies, getting across the Hudson River here this morning. That's what's happening here in the traffic center. Let's send it back to Fairfield. Talk to Kristina and Cara.
Thanks so much, Don. We appreciate it. All right. So speaking of commuting, if you take the ferry from Middletown to Manhattan, be ready for some changes to the commute next week.
Yeah, the Middletown to Manhattan ferry line is being taken over by C Streak with service beginning on Monday. C Streak will be running 22 trips between Belford Terminal and both sides of Manhattan, as well as other existing routes from Highlands and Atlantic Highlands. An existing stop in Jersey City will not be retained, and commuters on that route are now advised to find an alternate.
So this has been, I was actually there. I was one of the first reporters when they initially opened, and it was New York Waterway, did the initial one from Middletown into Manhattan.
Oh.
And it's been kind of an ongoing issue that they recently changed the contract to C Streak. So it'll be interesting.
It'll be interesting too, and they're trying to build that whole terminal, out of Perth Amboy and that whole area as well.
Yeah.
So they're trying to beef that up and put money, but that's going to be a couple years in the making at least.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I mean, it's tough for commuters too, because it's like
from that area,
cheaper ways
there's
to get
no
into
good
Manhattan.
way. Yeah, and I mean, you can literally see it when you're sitting on the beach. It's right there. It
It's
should be easy to get to.
It's like take a rowboat. It's like, come on, it's right there. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
But here's another top story too. Congressman Josh Gottheimer is calling for the U.S. Postal Service to take more action against stolen checks and mail fraud. This is a thing.
Yeah, it is. In an appearance outside the Teaneck Post Office on Tuesday, Gottheimer criticized the Postal Service Office of the Inspector General for not resolving current cases of stolen checks and other missing mail. Gottheimer is calling on the Postal Service to expedite the investigations and for Postmaster General Louis DeJoy to go public with his plans for addressing the issue. And it's one of those silly things that it's not that it's a silly thing, but for whatever reason, we don't talk about it a lot.
Yeah.
You don't hear about it, but it does happen all the time where, that stuff is just pulled out of there. And at the same time, the post office's budget has been cut dramatically for years.
Yeah, every single year.
You gotta, either give them some money to do the work or kind of shrug your shoulders and be like, what'd you expect?
Right. Yeah. So we'll see. I mean, again, but you don't think about it, like you said, like, you're like, oh, this is still happening. Okay.
Because I think so many of us do. And I was actually talking to a good friend of mine yesterday. She still gets her paycheck by mail. She does not. She's uncomfortable with direct deposit.
Makes sense.
And and I'm like, I could see it. I could say, some people are they have their feelings about that.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's reasonable. So, but for her, she's like, there was a problem because of the Thanksgiving holiday, and so now, so she's been waiting almost like 3 weeks now for her paycheck.
It's sort of like you damned if you do, damned if you don't kind of thing. Like it's the viral issues in terms of hacking and then versus people just
pulling the check out of the mails. I mean, it's either way.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's interesting. But again, I that particular, you've got to give them the funds to do the work. You can't slash it to a skeleton budget, and then be like, oh, by the way, you also now have to do this.
So Gottheimer's doing the charge up there in Bergen County, but we'll see. I mean, hopefully it'll change and it'll be better and people will get their checks.
Hopefully we reinvest in that system. It's a good system when it's functioning.
When it's functioning, exactly.
So there's a new report from the Natural Parks Conservation Association that says the Delaware Water Gap has generated $235 million in economic activity over the last year.
Yeah, the economic activity stems from the 4.3 million visitors that went to the Delaware Water Gap National Recreation Area in 2021 to help maintain and grow the economic benefits of the water gap. This report says that it's important to ensure ensure the natural resources are protected from the harmful industrial development. I am 100% behind this as well.
Absolutely.
Stop developing parts of New Jersey that don't need to be developed.
Yeah.
I
It's
mean,
just
let it
leave
breathe.
Yeah.
Yes, literally let it breathe.
And you know, we're already the most densely populated state in
Yes.
the like. It's okay. Leave it a little green.
You know, and it's like I live in an area, I live down by Monroe Township. And when we first moved in 40 years ago, it was farmland. It was tons of, and you know, I loved sort of the dichotomy between that. You know, you could hop on the turnpike and be in a city quickly. And now it's been so overdeveloped in this particular town, but this is not just my town, it's every town in New Jersey.
Oh, yeah.
And it's, you know, it's really sad to see because it's like that's part of the lure of going to some of these towns is because you have this open space.
Yes.
And now we're taking it away.
Right. Right. And it
charging you
creates additional, and it creates other issues as well. I mean, even in my town where we don't necessarily have that beautiful open space, but we have been building apartment buildings.
Yes.
So now you've got people who are not paying property taxes,
Yep.
but we're adding kids to the school system.
That's what's happening in our town.
And it's like, okay, well, I got to pay for all that?
how are we going to do this?
How are we supporting that?
And now our kids are learning in trailers, which is a whole different topic, but I mean, that's what's happening is that there's it's an abundance of people now flocking.
Too fast. It's too much too fast. Yep. Absolutely.
Well, let's change to a lighter note, shall we? You know, Giving Tuesday was just this past Tuesday, and this is the season of giving. And there's no better time of year to get involved with the charities and nonprofits that do good here in the Garden State.
So joining us now is Terry Caparelli, Executive Director of Habitat for Humanity of Bergen County. Terry, good morning. It's so great to have you.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
So for anyone who isn't familiar, tell us about Habitat for Humanity and what exactly you guys do in the community.
So Habitat for Humanity, we build homes for people in need. They do pay for their homes at affordable housing prices, and they do pay taxes. And we like to say that we're not a handout, we are a hand up. And we also provide generational wealth for our families. We are very fortunate that in the last 6 months, we have put 2 veteran families into homes in Bergen County, and they're doing quite well, and we're super happy to have them part of our family now.
That's amazing.
That is amazing. And I loved everything about that first day, like you said, because that is how, you know, the way we have things set up here now, that is how you build generational wealth, is through real estate, truthfully. So that's amazing. Do you find, Terry, that there's a heightened need for your services as the colder weather approaches?
Without question. Not only are first and foremost what we work on and concentrate our efforts on is to build homes for families in need, but we also try to branch out and help other communities within Bergen County. Right now, we're working on a critical repair in Fairview. It's a food pantry there that feeds 3,000 people a month, and we have an amazing team headed by our director of construction and site supervisor. And then we get volunteers in to not only build our homes, but also to work on this project. And we have a group of gentlemen called the Gray Heads, and they are the most dedicated, riotous, wonderful group of individuals that help us build. And every time we call on them, they're there for us.
That's fantastic. I know you hold events basically all year long, but you have a holiday tricky tray coming up next weekend. Tell us a little bit about that and what that is.
So we have, for most people who know Habitat, we also have a restore, which we take in gently used items and furniture. We sanitize them before we put them out on the floor to sell, and household items. But we try to think outside of the box and do some fun things at the restore. So we have this tricky tray coming up. We do about 3 tricky trays a year, and it's just loads of fun. It brings people together, community together. We invite other vendors to come in within the community and try to help them out with their items for sale. We have Michael Kors bag that's $400 value. That's one of the prizes. We have a TV in there. We have an exercise bike, and then we have many other things. We do a lottery board. It's loads of fun, and it brings people together. And then we do a live drawing at 4:00 on Saturday.
That sounds like so much fun, and I was like, I got to get over there. What? This is actually the second holiday tricky tray that you guys have done. What has it been like putting this event together? I mean, because that sounds like a lot. Where do all of these elements come from?
Well, I jokingly say to our board here, we wear 10 hats a day. So we put together baskets here. We get donations in. I usually do the baskets for the Tricky Tray. Then we have our volunteer coordinator. She makes the application for our license for this event or any other events that require a license. And then we just have a staff of people, our volunteers in the restore. We couldn't run our restore without the dedication of our volunteers there. And then we are a small but a mighty staff that continues to take care of the rest of the paperwork and help out. So if you walked in, you might see me, wrapping gifts, running out through the restore. We try to procure pieces of property for our builds here. So we sort of kind of do it all. And that's with all habitats. Everybody does contribute.
So
Tremendous.
if people are interested in volunteering or want to learn more about you or even about the Tricky Tray, where can they go?
They could go to habitatbergen.org, O-R-G. And we're always in need of volunteers. This particular affiliate, we are 80% volunteer to 20% staff.
Wow.
So we depend very, very heavily on our volunteers. And like I said, they've just become extended family members for us because we're here, almost 10 hours a day, and we're spending our time with them. So we couldn't do it without our volunteers in the restore and our gray heads. They're an amazing group of people.
That is incredible. Terry, thank you so much for joining us this morning and filling us in all about Habitat in Bergen County. Good luck with the Tricky Tray. Thank you again.
Come visit us. We're here all the time. So we're here Monday through Saturday. So we would welcome, to have you come in and see what we're all about.
Absolutely. Thanks so much, Terry.
You're welcome. Have a great holiday.
You too.
Thank you.
Speaking of holidays, up next, we'll tell you about the County College of Morris's upcoming free holiday shows.
We've also got more on the Jersey Shore Blue Claws upcoming food drive.
That's a good one. And don't forget, you can always find us over on social media. Search for @NJ Morning Show on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter, and click follow.
Right now, families all across New Jersey are struggling with hunger, and their financial futures remain uncertain. You can be the hope for our hungry neighbors in need in a time when that need is still so great. The Community Food Bank of New Jersey, the state's largest anti-hunger, anti-poverty organization, is filling the emptiness caused by hunger with food, help, and hope. Go to cfbnj.org now to join us.
The New Jersey Hall of Fame is coming to you, celebrating our best and brightest. Greeting guests along our Garden State Parkway through its 9 service areas, engaging travelers from our terminals to our transit centers, inspiring new generations as we move from town to town, and at New Jersey's hottest red carpet ceremony, inspiring New Jerseyans at our new home at American Dream. It's the New Jersey Hall of Fame, and it's where you want to be because everyone needs a hero.
Welcome back to the New Jersey Morning Show. Let's bring in meteorologist Mike Favetta for another look at the forecast. And Mike, it's officially December and it's officially cold, so I feel like it's finally all lining up.
Yeah,
it definitely is. Yeah, right in order. Kind of looking ahead at the next few weeks to see if there's any snow in the forecast. And if those are really, whoever's really interested, I think that there's a big cold shot of air that comes in about 10 days, 2 weeks time frame. And that could mean some snow in our area. So I think we could see some flakes fall by Christmas. It could be a white Christmas. It could. There could be some snow on the ground. We'll just have to wait and see. But there is definitely some signals of very cold air coming. Even colder than we dealt with this morning here for New Jersey. So I know. It gets chilly. So why not think warm thoughts? Think tropical thoughts, because yesterday ended the 2022 Atlantic hurricane season, and the hurricane season actually came in right around average. Yes, we had many major landfalling storms, such as the 2 major hurricanes. Normally we have 3 in a typical season. We were slightly over the average of 7 hurricanes. We had 8 that were named this year. In total, named storms right on par with average. There's 14 of those going right through the alphabet. So our forecast over the next few days and the next few weeks really starts to bring a little bit of a cold pattern back to New Jersey. And while you don't really see the shade of blue here on the map over New Jersey, it just has the equal chances of warm and cold. This is like the transition period, going from some milder weather to some colder weather that comes into the next few weeks. And that is really that below average temperature will start to work its way down across New Jersey, making it feel quite chilly once we get to the end of next week going into the middle of December. Here's your 7-day forecast with temperatures that will hold in the 40s on your Friday, mostly sunny skies. I think Saturday starts off wet and stays rainy through the day, a little windy too, with temperatures in the 50s. Pretty much a day like yesterday. If you remember, it wasn't terribly cold early on. The chill came in later on that day, last night, and it was just kind of wet most of the day and windy. Yeah, repeat that for Saturday. Sunday turns dry. Again, a great day for outdoor decorating, maybe some holiday shopping. It'll stay dry through Monday, and then Tuesday by next week looks to be our next chance for some wet weather. So a little bit of a seesaw effect there with the up and down each day, but not too dramatic of a swing. And then I think going into the end of next week and beyond looks to be pretty chilly by the end of the second week of December. So wrapping up the month here with some colder weather forecast, and maybe that could transition and translate into some snow by Christmas. We'll just have to wait and see.
A white Christmas.
A white Christmas.
But that's also
Nice.
tricky too because of traveling. So it's good and bad, right?
Yeah.
People
I
get
always assume people stay home for Christmas.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm not going anywhere.
No, I'm not going anywhere. But people are coming to me.
But yeah, there you go.
We'll see.
All right, Mike, thanks so much.
All right, let's get back to the traffic center with Don Smith, and he's checking out a couple of things cooking here, Don.
Yeah, a couple things, Behr. Good morning, Cara. Good morning, Mike. Let's get you over to the maps here this morning. I want to give you the update here along Route 80 out in Wharton by Route 15. We still have the right lane shut down here this morning, and it's been an ongoing cleanup of this crash for the last about hour or so. It's right in here, as you can, I hope you can see it here. But the right lane is partially blocked here by the state troopers. So again, they're still in the process of working on this crash. It's just a minor delay, except that the issue I see is that the right lane is like closed right at the accident scene. I'm thinking maybe if they were further back here just to prevent anybody from running into the cruiser here. But nonetheless, just be careful if you're traveling east along Route 80. We also have some other issues here in Maple Shade where it's southbound 73 coming up towards just before Main Street. It's really a little bit closer towards Stiles Avenue. We have a broken traffic light there. That is going to be out of service as well. We also have some congestion on 42 just as it turns into the Atlantic City Expressway on the eastbound side here, right at that interchange with some construction. That's closing up a lane until about 3 o'clock this afternoon, so be mindful of that. Rest of South Jersey actually looking pretty good, although I think the Parkway may be setting up some road work here coming across the Somers Point Bridge this morning. Yeah, that's what that is. So watch for that getting up in towards Route 52 there for Ocean City. Again, Ocean County, Monmouth County, we're all clear. The other hot spot really is this turnpike is really getting hit hard on the truck side of things with construction south of interchange 11 down to 10. Takes out a lane until about 2:30, so just be mindful of that. Stay with the car lanes, the inner roadway instead if you're coming out of Union County, Linden. And then also we're seeing some more traffic here on 280. Looks like we have construction setting up now for the midday. This is going to be out by, well, just before Prospect Avenue or so. Exits Pleasant Valley Way between exits 7 and 8. Let's go towards the Hudson River crossings now. We're looking at still about an hour for the upper, about 40 at the lower, the George, a half an hour at the Lincoln, and 20 at the Holland. Again, we really haven't been able to shake out those delays all morning long, and still about 15 minutes here on the AC rail line. It's happening at a fairly busy traffic center for this 1st of December. Cara, Kristina, we'll send it back to you.
Don, thank you so much.
So there is all kinds of great holiday events going on around the state. The County College of Morris is presenting 2 free shows this holiday season. Tomorrow night, the choir and wind ensemble will perform holiday music at the Dragonetti Auditorium.
Yeah, and the show will get underway at 7:30 with live jazz music in the lobby as the guests arrive. The dance theater concert will feature student dance routines next Monday and Tuesday at the Performance Lab.
Those kids are so talented across the state, and the fact that you can go to these events, you know, these shows for a very fair price, some of them free in cases, and it's like,
And some of these are on par. Like people schlep into the city to go see, you know, all the big shows,
Right.
but it's like you don't have to go that far
Well,
to see such amazing
to
talent.
see the talent. And that's it.
Yeah.
It's like, well, where do you think those shows in the city got their talent
And
from?
they plucked them from New
They
Jersey.
pulled them out of here.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So yeah, no, it's gonna be a good time.
Yeah, for sure. And then also this Saturday, the Jersey Shore Blue Claws are hosting their annual Christmas with the Claws food and toy drive from 10 a.m. till 12 at Shoretown Ballpark. The drive will benefit the Salvation Army of Ocean County.
And it's more than just like a toy drop off, right? Kids will also be able to visit Santa and meet Buster, the Blue Claws mascot. Anyone who donates will also receive a ticket voucher for opening night on April 11th. They always have such fun events there that are tying into whatever the holiday is, and it always gives back too. So it's a good time. I have to go. I haven't been to a game yet, but
no, I'm not a baseball person, but
me neither.
I actually what is that? The minor league, the New Jersey minor league teams are good, and I think it's more exciting to watch even than sometimes the pros because
and it's a smaller stadium,
and
so
it's a
you
smaller
get more of
stadium.
that feel.
You just kind of have that like you feel like you're in a baseball movie, and then it's more fun,
right? And then it's good for kids too. Like there's more activities. It's not just
they
a
can
stale
bounce around
stadium like Yankee Stadium.
Exactly.
It's pretty stale.
Yeah, the first last and only time I was in Yankee Stadium, I fell asleep. So.
Yeah, same. I was playing with a little kid next to me, and my husband was like, "Are you going to watch the game?" I was like, "No, this is more exciting.
Far more
The
entertaining.
2-year-old." Yeah.
Absolutely. So we've
Not
got
baseball.
one more great guest for you today. Vegan interior designers are trying a new eco-friendly approach to remodeling.
This is cool. Here now to tell us more about vegan interior design is the interior designer, Risha Walden, who is based in Milburn. Thanks so much for being with us.
Hey, thanks so much for having me.
So can you give us some, first of all, what is vegan interior design in the first place? I mean, I love food. I know about eating. I know vegan diet. How does that translate to interior design?
Yeah, so most people think being vegan has to do with your diet, but actually it has to do with the lifestyle. So when we translate that into our homes or into our the purchase that we make for ourselves, that would mean not acquiring anything that has any animal product in it.
Oh, so what are the benefits of vegan interior design?
Well, there's a whole host of benefits. Environmentally, it's much more sustainable. It's better for the animals, and it's better for the industry because of where animals are treated to make into product. They're in third world countries where there often are not bylaws or there's any rules in terms of the disposal and how the workers are treated in the factories, etc.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, Risha, you had mentioned there's a sustainability factor here, and how does that kind of play in with veganism? Because you would think, and again, because my experiences with food, I know a lot of times a product, can be made vegan, but it can be made vegan with a lot of chemicals, a lot of additives. So how does that then translate again into interior design? Because I think, when you talk about a vegan lifestyle, you're talking about that health and that sustainability for your home. So it's like, I don't want the animals or the people to be abused, but I also want something that's healthy in my home, that's not giving off fumes, that's,
Exactly. Well, we often think that leather is sustainable because it's natural, but they treat this leather with acid and chemicals in order to make it survive and have a long-term life. Otherwise, the leather itself would just disintegrate and go away, and we don't want that on our sofas, etc. So those chemicals that are used and the acids, etc., are very strong, and this is where the bulk of the animal processing is happening in third world countries, and that's where they don't have these bylaws. So the acid, and it's a very water intensive industry, so they use these acids, chemicals with the water, and the water just flushed down into the local waterways, which even though it's happening across the world, we know it's going to come around to us as well, and that's where now we have a leather product that is created to sustain for a very long time. It's not going to compost. It's not going to break down because it's meant to stay on your sofa and be part of your sofa, chair, etc.
So how do you approach redecorating a room? Say, how do you find these items? What do you look for?
Well, I do a lot of sourcing, and I look for the alternatives that look and feel like the original product, such as like in fur or down, for instance. There's lots of other products that are being created to replicate the animal product. And it's not really that hard because there is a need for it, and animal products actually can be more expensive. There's a certain cachet with the leather, for instance. Well, that's an expensive product, so there are alternatives for leather. There's alternatives for wools that are less expensive than the original.
Richard, it's funny because you actually just said wool, and that was one of the things I was just thinking about, because I think for a lot of us, we feel like wool is something that is okay because it doesn't necessarily harm the animal to get the wool from it. I mean, is that it's still that kind of still falls under animal product, and we don't do that?
That's right. That's right. We don't think of it as like like it's fine, we're helping the animals, but actually the animals are treated like a product because that's what they're for. They're consumer good, and so when they're sheared, which they need to be, they're sheared with timing. So it's the shearer doesn't make money by taking its time. And as well, we're breeding these animals to have extra ripples in their skin, so there's a lot more surface area. Well, you can imagine what it's like shaving something that's very smooth versus something that has tons of ripples. It's gonna hurt. It's meant to be fast, quick, and
it's like shaving your knee. You'll just never do it right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyone who's ever shaved their legs knows exactly what I'm talking about.
There you are. Exactly. You know what I'm talking about.
Absolutely. So, Risha, where can people go to find out more? What do we, I'm just moved into a new place, and I'm, still in the process of, where do I go to find some of these things?
Yeah, well, anybody who's watching is welcome to give me a call, and I'm at walden-interiors.com. I'm based in Millburn. You can give me a call, and we can have a complimentary conversation about how I can help you. I do lots of YouTube videos. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, and always giving information because vegan interior design is kind of an odd thing, and people are not familiar with it. So part of my goal is to gain awareness and education.
Yeah, get it out there. Risha Walden, thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
That was so
Very
interesting.
Cool. Yeah, I would never
have even thought twice about it.
Yep, absolutely.
I have my same girlfriend who gets her paycheck via the mail. When she tells me something, like she has done research on something, the woman does her research.
Yeah.
So she's like, this is made from the appropriate foam that won't release like certain toxins into your. I'm like, okay, we'll get that one.
Done.
I'm like, this is right up her alley. I'm gonna have to put her in touch with
her up.
So.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Sure.
All right, guys, coming up, we're gonna tell you which New Jersey town was named one of the best in the nation to live in.
Surprising. Well, also we have a list of the best Christmas towns in New Jersey. How appropriate.
Absolutely. And of course, you can always find us over on social media. Just search for @NJ Morning Show on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter, and click follow.
2020 felt like a dark tunnel, and while 2020 is over, the impact is not. The pandemic affected both our physical and mental health.
We started the Cody Fund for Mental Health to change lives, so we want you to know about NJ211.
It's a referral service for anyone in crisis, even children.
I am living proof that there's light at the end of the tunnel.
And it's not a train, it's help. It's NJ211.
Right now, New Jersey's youth are dealing with a lot. Growing up today, it's easy to feel overwhelmed, but you're not alone. If you're worried about someone, reach out and point them to help if they need it. The New Jersey Department of Children and Families offers support to children and youth in crisis. Help is available by phone or text whenever you need it. Be there for a friend, and know where to turn for help. Suicide should never be the answer. Growing up can be hard. Getting help shouldn't be.
Welcome back to the New Jersey Morning Show. We've got one last look at the forecast with meteorologist Mike Favetta. Good morning, Mike.
Good morning to you both. We've got a really chilly forecast ahead, but a sunny one today and tomorrow. Then it gets a little wet by Saturday. Have some rain showers moving. You can see on the 7-day. It's not going to be the prettiest start to the weekend with gray skies, gusty breezes. Temperatures will warm pretty well into the upper 50s, but then those temperatures come crashing back down for Sunday. Cold weather weather takes over for Sunday afternoon, but at least it's sunny and dry with less wind. Great weather for decorating, especially with all of the calm conditions and, of course, clear sky helping to warm you up. Remember, the 44 degrees, that's the temperature measured in the shade, so as long as you're decorating on the sunny side of your house, I think you'll actually feel quite comfortable. Then we get into Monday and Tuesday, where highs climb back into the upper 40s. That's where we should be for the beginning of December, with Tuesday looking like another shot for some wet weather clearing by Wednesday. So a little bit of an up and down with the temperatures on the 7-day, but overall, not looking terrible considering how windy and how rainy it was just last night. Really was a interesting way to start off the month of December early on.
Yeah, especially the way I've got one of those older homes, and like the wind howls around the house. Yeah, I'm like, it's spooky.
Yeah, I had to deflate the inflatables on the lawn. Otherwise, it was going to be down the street.
They were going to be down the street.
Poor Yoda, baby Yoda, is one of the inflatables this year. So yeah,
I love it.
I was like,
oh man. All right, Mike, thank you. Don't go anywhere. We need you in a minute.
Yeah. Here's one more final traffic update with Don Smith. How are we looking now, Don?
Yeah, it's still pretty busy, Behr. Same thing, Cara. I just want to add a little footnote there to Rish's vegan interiors that a lot of automakers here from the traffic desk, a lot of car manufacturers are also attempting to go into the vegan space. I know Tesla's been doing it for a while. The Ford Mach-E has a relatively mostly vegan interior, so is Mini, and BMW products, Porsche, Mercedes. So they're all trying to get into that space, and I think it's a good idea too, because those chemicals that are in those plastics in the interior, unfortunately, that's what gives you that great new car smell, can potentially maybe harmful down the road, especially in the middle of the summer when it's 110 degrees out there, at least 150 in the car. Let's go to the maps here this morning. We do have some issues on 280. We don't have to worry about any kind of heat except for the heat coming out of the heater in the car because it's fairly cold out there this morning. 280 getting in the Pleasant Valley Way out by exit 7 in West Orange. We've got construction for the midday ride, and you can see some slow traffic here on the very far left here. Getting in from exit 6. So that's probably going to run you about another 10 minutes or so. So just be mindful. Again, we're in that hot zone for road work setting up here this morning. Let's go to Bergen County. We really haven't talked about much about that all morning long. Fairly quiet on 17, 287. Eastbound 80, we're still picking up the accident here on the shoulder with the right lane blocked out by exit 34. That's going to be for Route 15. Staying in the Hackettstown area. You heard me mention about a water main break right in front of Minebrook Golf Course. It's right here at the interchange of 57 and Schooley's Mountain Road. I'll get that right. Again, everything is closed there just for the Wawa, so just be careful there. And that could be a protracted situation. Eastbound 78, it's a midday road work there at 287. So is the Turnpike South. The outer truck lanes have road work here between 11 and 10. That's there until 2:30. And then 73 is our final stop this morning. Where is it? It's in here somewhere. There it is. Looks like that may be cleared up along 73. Now the right lane is still out in Maple Shade. That is still being taken care of. And then also we have some issues here on the AC Expressway, really 42 going south, 168 with construction as well. George Washington Bridge, still a problem, about an hour, 40 for the lower, half an hour, both the Lincoln and the Holland tunnels. Now in my quote unquote maybe cheapness to avoid some of the tolls there on the Parkway, I managed to go through the Township of Union on Monday, and thankfully I did. Maybe it's my finding the little pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, but managed to come across this great looking rainbow, and I was actually trying to get some shots coming off of the Parkway and in that area through Kenilworth and Cranford, but managed to pull into a CVS in Union, out by Union High School off of Morris Avenue, and managed to just get that right. The sun was just coming over the back of my shoulder kind of a thing, and the gray clouds in the background, and managed to get single rainbow, but there is that
secondary one.
It's coming up. Look at the
double rainbow coming through.
There you go. You can see it there.
There it is.
Uh-huh.
All right, Mike, now you have to explain to us.
The colors are flipped. Look at the second rainbow.
Look at that.
They're flipped.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh,
All right, now how does that work?
Yeah, look at that.
It goes the opposite way. That is because of the double refraction inside the raindrop.
Wow, look at that. So
It's
what?
something that you don't really notice unless you really have to look for it and you go, oh my gosh, that rainbow's backwards.
That rainbow is
Exactly.
backwards.
That's really cool.
So
I've
Mike,
never seen something that clear, a rainbow that clear
That
before.
clearly,
Don.
though. I mean, I've
you
seen
got
it
literally
before, but you got it
pot of
perfectly,
gold.
yeah.
That's amazing.
So
Look at
Mike,
that.
what's really the principles going on here with the colors like that, and how it can just like come on real fast and then
mean, you
turn
can see the
itself off real
purple.
quick?
Yeah, well, you were probably early in the morning because you
Yep.
said you were
Yep.
avoiding school traffic.
Yep.
And because the sun has to be at a nice low angle in the sky and the sun was behind you, you're seeing the refraction of the raindrops ahead of you. So sun at your back, looking ahead into the distance, into some wet weather, and there's your rainbow. In this
That's
case,
so
double
cool.
rainbow.
Pretty cool. Now, does it always give you that perfect kind of concave no matter where it is? Is that just
Your
property?
sun has to be
what
at just the right angle.
Just
So
the
if
right
sun were
angle,
a little
yeah.
bit higher, you would
Uh-huh.
see little to nothing. But
Wow.
that's why usually first thing in the morning or late in the evening,
Yeah.
when the sun is like really low just above the tree line, you get pretty rainbows.
That's awesome.
Oh.
Don got the pot of gold. I mean,
Yeah.
literally.
Pot
That
of
was
gold.
it.
That's
Yeah.
it.
Actually, Mike had another question for you when you were talking about the hurricane season ending yesterday. Has there ever been, a landfall in the United States in December of a hurricane or of any
I'd have to
kind?
look that up. I could look it up easily. How about this? We'll bring that for tomorrow's show. Little tease to tune in
Ah,
tomorrow.
there we go. I like it.
I like it.
A little
Very
teaser
cool.
there.
There we go.
Yeah.
All right,
Nice, guys. Thank you, Don,
both.
for sharing.
Sure. Thanks, Mike.
It made our day a different kind of holiday light show, if you will.
Yes, the all-natural one.
Yes,
I like it.
we
I
like
like it.
those.
Hey, speaking of travel and leisure, released their list of the top 25 Christmas towns in America, and 2 of them are along the Jersey Shore.
Duh. Cape May was ranked the highest at number 21. No surprise there, with the magazine highlighting the festive appearance of Washington Street Mall decorations, of course. Atlantic City, surprisingly, 23rd ranked town with the tree lighting and holiday musical light show at Tropicana, and the Atlantic City Bazaar being mentioned as some of the fun activities in the city.
Cape May, I'm
Yeah.
like, that's a given.
I mean,
Atlantic
that's-
City surprised me a little.
That's a little surprising,
But that's
because
still
it's
very
sort
cool.
of- you think of Atlantic City, you think of the artificial lights and
Yes.
the sort of
The
pomp and
casinos, yeah, just-
circumstance and,
yeah.
the gambling. I wouldn't think that, but it's been a long time since I've been there.
Yes, this is also
It's
true.
changed.
This is also true.
And Stacker also released a new list of the 50 best towns to live in America. And one of them, right here in New Jersey, no surprise, Princeton Junction came in at number 46 on the list, with Stacker citing factors such as low crime rate there and a good school system.
Princeton Junction was also credited for easy access to grocery stores, restaurants, and playgrounds, as well as a suburban feel. The number 1 town on the list was located just 1 state over, Chesterbrook, Pennsylvania. So still not too bad.
Not surprising. Again, it's Princeton is this quaint little area.
Got this
You got the
nice space over
university.
here.
Yeah, a little school there called Princeton University.
Little,
yes. They
yes.
invest a lot of money in. So
Yes.
it
Yeah,
looks great.
absolutely. So we still live in the best state in the country.
Yeah, we do.
Not gonna lie.
For sure.
Thank you guys so much for watching today. We appreciate it. We'll see you right here back tomorrow morning. I'm Cara DeFalco.
And I'm Kristina Behr. Have a great day.